How many of you know someone personally who has fallen victim to addiction or substance abuse? For example, individuals that have or had issues with alcohol, cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, or even maladaptive behaviors like excessive gambling. Looks like there are quite a few of us who do know somebody either still active in their addiction or in recovery. Now let me ask you, is addiction a disease or a lifestyle choice? Do these individuals choose to abuse substances and or participate in maladaptive behaviors? Or is it due to the impact that is taken on our brain? Well, I'm here to introduce to you the idea that addiction is in fact a brain disease according to mental health professionals, and here's why. There are 3 criterion associated with disease. To be classified as a disease, the condition must present signs and symptoms, malfunctioning of the original structure, and lastly, it must display effects on the individual's health and well-being. Addiction includes all 3 of these classifications. Let's break it down. The first determinant is signs and symptoms. Addiction absolutely correlates with these signs and symptoms. There may be a change in mood, such as easily agitated or annoyed. You could also see a potential change in their motivation. They may lack motivation. Also, you may see an overall change in their personality and demeanor. The second determinant is that of malfunctioning of structure or functions. According to the CDC, the brain experiences surplus of chemicals conquering our brain's reward system. The reward system of the brain is tied directly to pleasure and satisfaction. This is the part of the brain that tells us we are enjoying ourselves. Our brain then associates the substance or behavior to a sensational feeling, a sense of desire and pleasure. At the time of desire or pleasure, a chemical known as dopamine is released throughout our brain. Dopamine is a chemical our brain releases in times of pleasure and desire. The National Library of Medicine tells us that the amygdala, hippocampus, and striatum parts of the brain are affected by the dopamine levels. Those same parts of the brain are affected by the chemicals of substances that are used or the behaviors that are conducted. With a long-term overload of dopamine, rewiring the brain can occur, resulting in functioning differences. The volume in brain tissue is affected, which in turn alters the individual's cognitive abilities and the inability to make successful judgments and decisions. When you compare a healthy brain, a healthy, non-addictive brain, to a brain that has experienced addiction, you will also see that the physical form of the brain has also been impacted. Now, the third classification of this disease includes the individual's health and well-being being affected as well. Addiction or substance abuse can lead to lung or heart disease, cancer, strokes, or even mental health. Mental health concerns correlate and coincide with addiction more than you may even know. A lot of times, individuals will tend to seek substances in order to cope and overcome their mental health symptoms, and other times when individuals who have experienced addiction are still in their active addiction or in recovery, they may experience anxiety or depression. As you can see, addiction meets all 3 of these classifications to be considered a disease. So the next time that you interact with an individual with this disease, try to be a little more understanding that it is in fact a disease rather than a lifestyle choice. We can acknowledge their initial use or behavior as a decision, but once the brain was triggered, it's going to continue to seek that pleasurable, desirable feeling. I hope from this we can all shed a little more compassion and understanding towards those suffering from this disease. Remember, it's their brain. It's not who they are.